Hi friends. To be honest, I've been kind of dreading making this video. But at the same time, I really want to talk with you guys. This is so different than all of my videos on my channel, unfortunately. And I'm filming this as like a completely different person, basically. Before I get into everything, I just really want to say thank you to everyone who's been so kind to me the last, month or so. I've seen your comments, and obviously this is the first thing I've posted on YouTube. I've kind of kept you guys semi-updated over on Instagram, and I'm just so thankful for the love and the support and the prayers that my family and I have received. You guys are just the best, and I'm so thankful for all of you and your kindness and your comments. I hope you know how much it means to me. I wanted to do like a little life update video because it's impossible for me to jump back into my regular videos without this. Obviously this is a very personal video and it's not something that I usually post on my channel, but it's completely necessary in this situation. So just to fill you in and catch you up to speed, since I'm sure some of you are not aware of the reason why I've taken off a month and a half of YouTube, which I've never done before in the 8 years of having my channel. Gosh, I feel like I hate saying it out loud still. But on February 8th, I unexpectedly and suddenly lost my older sister. When I say unexpectedly, like it was not anything any of us had on our minds or in our plans. Obviously, like I don't think anyone does when you lose someone. I'm not sure how many of you guys remember, but a couple of videos ago, I was doing like a foundation review and I did like a check-in, and then I came back the next day and I had told you guys that one of my siblings had gone through an emergency surgery and I wasn't able to finish filming my video that day because it was extremely emotional for me. So let me give you a little bit of a backstory, and then I want to share just more about my sister because I feel like I just love talking about her. So mid-January, she was experiencing some chest pain and ended up going into the ER, and they discovered she had some pulmonary embolisms, several of them, which essentially are blood clots in the lungs. She immediately was, taken care of, treated, monitored. They put her on a blood thinner, and watched her in the hospital for about a week or so, I believe, a couple of days. They kind of gave her some options, okay? So they had the option of just kind of monitoring her, which is what she chose to do in the beginning. And then the other option was surgery to remove these clots to kind of relieve some of that pressure in her lungs and in her chest. She kind of just like hung tight for a bit, just wanted to see if the blood thinners would help her, which they actually did improve her scenario a bit. But eventually she had a specific blood clot that was a little bit more stubborn. So her and her husband ultimately decided to do the surgery to remove the clots just to help speed things along. So this was the first emergency surgery. This is the one that I mentioned in my foundation review video. My family and I were unaware at the time, but obviously she and her husband knew that she was actually pregnant. What she was unaware of, though, was because of her pregnancy and wanting to, protect her baby, she wasn't able to go completely under during her surgery. So she was awake. They made sure she didn't feel as much as possible, but that experience was pretty traumatizing for her, as you could imagine. I had no idea until afterwards, and she didn't know actually going in that that's what her situation would be. And she actually had a couple of times where she thought she was going to die in that surgery, and she expressed that to us later. Like, really terrifying, but ultimately it went well. And she was so brave, so incredibly brave. So they monitored her after that surgery, made sure that she was on blood thinners and everything like that, just to make sure no new clots formed, as they were able to relieve some of that pressure in her lungs and in her chest. And after a few days after they watched her levels kind of like come back to normal, her heart rate was looking a lot better, they sent her home. One thing that's the most common when you are put on a blood thinner is it's supposed to prevent new clots from forming. It's not guaranteed, obviously, but that's the typical scenario. So the doctors were not concerned, especially after they had found the issue, done a surgery, she was on blood thinners. They sent her home with her vitals looking a-okay. That following week, what she thought was recovering from surgery, and also, I'm sure, a mix of early pregnancy symptoms. If you've ever been pregnant, you know how you can feel a little out of breath, a little nauseous, your heart rate increases, all of that. She thought she was just recovering from a pretty intense and traumatic surgery and just learning how to kind of breathe again in a way, because she was having some troubles with that. About a week or so after that surgery, the evening of the 7th, so this is the night before she had the second emergency surgery, her oxygen vitals were kind of all over the place. They would drop and then kind of come back up, and she felt like she couldn't really breathe. This was in the middle of the night, and she didn't want to, like, you know, jump to conclusions or anything, because she was confident, being on blood thinners, that maybe it was just recovery. So they were just like, we're going to get it checked out in the morning. When she woke up, her vitals were pretty scary low. Like, her blood oxygen was scary low. So her husband and her rushed to the ER again, and they did another scan on her lungs and found new clots, which again is very unusual and kind of shouldn't happen, but it was what it was. So they got her oxygen levels stable enough to do the same emergency surgery, the exact one she had gone through a few days prior, to remove these new clots. I woke up to a text from my mom updating me like, hey, you know, they found new clots. Haley's doing the same surgery again. Pray for her, basically. And I was just beside myself thinking how horrible that she has to go through this traumatic surgery awake and aware a second time. Obviously, since this was such a unusual thing for her to have new clots, there were lots of plans for post-surgery to do a lot of lab work, to get her to see specialists and get this under control, because it was so uncommon. And then the unexpected happened. Not just for us, but for her. Like, I know she didn't think this was gonna happen to her. Obviously, I'm sure she was scared with her not being able to, like, breathe like that. But she had already done the surgery once, you know? So she had a lot of faith going in that, like, it was all gonna be okay. And so did the rest of my family. Like, I actually felt very calm during the second surgery. I was a wreck during the first one. And I think because she came out of that one okay, I was like, okay, it's all gonna be all right, you know? All of us felt like that. And she even said to her husband before she went into the surgery room, it's gonna be okay. During the surgery, she suddenly passed away. Her heart just stopped. the surgical team was very well trained, and they did everything possible. They tried to revive her for about an hour. They actually got a pulse a couple of times, which I feel like was her, like, kind of refusing to let this be the end. But obviously she didn't have a say in this scenario, and ultimately they couldn't revive her. It's so insane how life can change within minutes, seconds, like literally in an instant. I never knew this level of pain existed. I've gone through, I've lost other people in my life, like grandparents and friends and cousins, but this is the first, like, immediate family loss I've ever had. And it's the worst pain I've ever felt in my life, and I can't believe that people feel this way. Like, I can't believe this is the level of pain that's possible. And there's just so many layers and levels to this that make it so hard to process. Obviously, with her being pregnant, like, it adds a kind of a double loss. And then her sweet husband, and she has 2 baby boys, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. It's just kind of like the most unfathomable situation where nothing makes sense and nothing feels fair. And I don't think it's ever going to make sense or feel fair. I think it's just one of those scenarios where I will never understand why. Haley's not just like a sister to me. She's my best friend. There's actually 8 kids in my family. There's a bajillion of us. She's the oldest, and I'm the second oldest. We are 18 months apart, and I don't know life without her, you know what I mean? Like, she literally blazed every trail for me, whether she knew it or not, since I was born. And so I've kind of felt, in addition to the pain and the grief, just so helpless, and I'm not really sure how I'm supposed to do life without her. It's been the worst thing I've ever experienced, obviously. I'm not the same person. It's impossible to be when you lose somebody that's so essential to your life. I just feel like she got robbed of so much, It's hard not to, I'm sure if you've experienced grief, you go through that grief cycle, Every day is different, and it just feels, it's hard not to feel a little upset that she was robbed of so much. Only being 32 years old, life was just starting. She wasn't done having her family. There's just so much more she wanted to do. She's so ambitious and determined and successful, and she's a musician, she's an author, an incredible mommy, and she loved everything that she did, and she wasn't ready to go, which might sound wild, but I know it. And spiritually, to meet God, she was top tier. She's the most faithful person, and has the most beautiful relationship with Jesus. And I know in that category, she was prepared. But she wasn't prepared to leave her boys at all. Nothing could have taken her away from them. I think that's the most painful part. I just can't believe the reality that I'm living. But at the same time, I just have no choice, None of us had a choice in this. And so you're just kind of forced to keep going. If you've ever experienced something similar to this, you'll know that when you lose somebody like this, especially in a tragic way, and so sudden, like, time stops. And it feels unfair that the world keeps turning, and it feels unfair that time keeps going. Meanwhile, your life and anyone else's life who's involved just comes to a screeching halt. And your soul and your mind are completely changed forever. There's been a lot of experiences I've had in my life or lessons that I've had in my life where I know when I'm going through it, okay, like this is gonna work out for my good. Like this is going to improve me as a person. This is going to teach me a lot. And I usually am able to have a pretty positive mindset around the trials that I'm going through. And this is the first time, obviously, where there's no silver lining in this scenario, to be frank. And I'm sure with time, maybe I will be able to understand some of the lessons that are in it for me. But it wasn't one of those scenarios where you find peace knowing, okay, well, she's free from her pain. You know what I mean? Although she was extremely uncomfortable those last couple of weeks, she was not ready to go. She was so determined to do anything in her power to get well again. And it's just all happened so suddenly. That's where I've been. I've honestly just been surviving. My whole family has. And if you've gone through something similar, you know, that's all you can do. Every day is very different. Every day looks so different. It's actually crazy. And it's crazy how it comes to you in waves. The grief hits you in waves. And, you know, you'll see or hear or think about a certain thing and you just can't help but cry your eyes out. And I'm allowing myself to ride all those waves right now and just give myself grace that this is going to take a long time for me to feel like I've, you know, got a grip on things and my life will never be the same. And I hate the thought of not having her. It's only been a month and a half. Like, I don't even want to think about a year, 5 years, 10 years. Like, I don't know how to do life without her. I don't know what life looks like without her. And I'm still having a hard time processing this reality. We just had so much more to do together. But, you know, so much is out of my control, obviously. Haley's literally the best one in our family. And I say that because everyone in my family agrees. She's so, like, reliable, so faithful, so determined, so talented. Her life was so short, cut so short, and it's so unfair. But in her short 32 years, she accomplished more than most people. She really prioritized travel and following her dreams through music and writing and motherhood. She was so minimalist, so organized. She really had her priorities straight. I had the privilege of being her closest sister in age. What a privilege. I don't know if many of you guys know, but obviously through childhood, like, we did everything together, played together every day, went to the same schools, just were the best of friends. When Haley and I and Mandy, our younger sister, the third daughter, when we were like 6, 7, and 8, because we're all so close in age, we all started singing together, like 3-part harmony, okay? And what a privilege that was to do that for so many years with her, and to go on tour with her, and write songs with her, sing with her. I think there's a different connection between my sisters and I because of music. It's not just like, oh, we're best friends. It's like we're connected on a level that most people might not understand. It's like we have this, you know how sisters and siblings, you already kind of have this telepathy going on. When it comes to singing, it was an additional level of that, where just by a look, we could know what each other were thinking and know to switch a note or to change something, or it's just such a different level of connection that I achieved with her and with Mandy, specifically since the three of us sang the most together for the longest. We actually started on YouTube, so if you're bored, have at it and go through some of the videos we posted. We started posting on YouTube when I was 15, and there's a lot online of us, which is actually really sweet now, especially. Gosh, I knew I would cherish all those videos and kind of being able to watch us grow up in a way as I got older, but now, oh my gosh, it holds a different weight. She also has such a way with words, and she wrote so many romance novels more recently. she's so talented with that as well. And like I said, she's such a good mom. Such a good mom. And it breaks me to think of how helpless she must feel not being able to like be here for her babies the way that I know she wants to. She's so present and so intentional. I miss her more than words can express. The only thing that gives me hope is like knowing that I will see her again, but I also am hit with the reality that I can't see her for the rest of my life, you know? And that's a really tough pill to swallow because I hate how time stops for her at 32 here. I don't want to be 40 and only know her at 32. I want to know her at 40 and 50. And the fact that I won't be able to is really tough. There's been a lot more going on behind the scenes as well, which maybe I'll share with you guys in another video. But after we lost Haley, my dad actually a few years ago and my younger sister Mandy several years ago actually have both experienced blood clots and pulmonary embolism specifically. And because of that family history, which I always was aware of, all of us were, but now losing Haley in such a unexpected way has caused me to really go down a new path health-wise to try to find some answers genetically and things like that. And I've been working with wonderful doctors and we're on a good path. Obviously that stuff is a little more personal and we're still in the middle of figuring things out. But just wanted to let you guys know that my family and I, we've been taking it very seriously to hopefully get to the bottom of this, since there's been so many of these scenarios in our family, which is very rare. So I'm determined to kind of find answers. To me, there just has to be something more, genetic something. So I'm in the middle of that process as well. I hate that it sometimes takes losing somebody to take those things really seriously, but also it's like, how would you know unless sometimes things like this happen and push you into a new realm and a new direction when it comes to health, just because it happened so fast for her. Again, I just want to say thank you to you guys. Your comments, your kindness means the world, and I hope you know that I am hyper aware of this type of grief now. It's one of those things you have to go through to really get it. And I know that there's people watching that get it. And for you, I'm so thankful. I'm thankful because I just crave having people that understand this in some way. And I know I'm not the only one, as grief is the universal experience. At some point and another in all of our lifetimes, we will inevitably lose people we love. And I just didn't know the depth of the pain when it comes to those who are really close to you. This is my first experience with that. So if you've also experienced it, I hope you know that you're not alone. I'm in your same boat. Actually, I'm not in a boat right now. I'm on rock bottom, but that's okay. But I understand your experience. So I hope that gives you maybe some comfort, as it gives me comfort knowing that I'm not the only one who's experienced this. And if you have any advice for me, gosh, like if any of you have experienced losing a sister or anyone close to you, please leave me any of your advice. I'm not obviously in a rush to fix my grief or be the happiest ever right now. It's just not possible, and I'm okay with that. It's just such a massive loss that it's going to take a long time for me to feel or get used to this new normal, which will never feel normal. But something that I feel would help me if you feel like you would like to. I'm going to link my sister's music. I'm going to link her books. I would love for you just to dive in and enjoy her art, because she made such beautiful things, and I'm so thankful that I get to have her books and her music to listen to So I'll have that down below. All of those, if you end up buying a book, for example, or streaming her music, everything goes directly to her boys, who are her whole world. I will also link her GoFundMe, which has been up for a while. I know so many of you have been so generous with that already, but that also goes directly to her boys. So I'll have that in the description box if you want to check that out. But ultimately, I just hope all of you, whether you knew of Haley or don't know her at all, I hope that you're just inspired to be a little more like her, the way that I am, to live out your dreams, as life is short. You always hear that, you know, but it's when things happen like this that it really, you understand that life is so short, and you really have nothing to lose when it comes to reaching for your dreams, achieving your goals, and just every day striving to become better like she did. I am so thankful for her example, her love. I'm so thankful to be her sister. And while I don't feel capable or equipped to do this life without her, I pray that she can help me navigate this, especially since I was never supposed to be the older sister left. Like, I don't want to blaze trails. That was her job, and I don't feel like capable. So I hope she can help me. Also, please continue praying for Caden, her husband specifically, and their 2 boys. Prayers have been so tangible as far as being what actually helps. Although nothing can take this away, prayers really have made a difference. So thank you to everyone who has already been praying, and we will take all the prayers we can get. But specifically, if you wouldn't mind praying for her husband and her boys, as they're the ones who are the most affected by this. Also, I wanted just a little heads up. You guys know YouTube is my full-time job. I love my community here. And while I was not forced to jump back into YouTube, and I'm still gonna move at my own pace, which I know you guys have been so kind and respectful of. Before all this happened, I've had a lot that I've been working on behind the scenes that I'm excited about. That probably wasn't convincing as I was crying, but I'm crying because you guys know I have my beauty brand, Revi Beauty, and there's a lot in the pipelines, which is really exciting. And this, there's something we're gonna launch soon that I'm really excited about, where I worked hard on. And the last time Haley was at my house, she was testing it. That's why I got emotional. She was just so supportive of me and Revi, and anyway, so there's just a lot that I've put a lot of heart and soul into, and obviously I stopped all work for a solid month, and my wonderful team was so kind, and none of them have put any pressure on me to film YouTube videos again or launch anything. This is something that I'm ready for, as ready as I'll ever be. I think I've realized over the past few weeks, I kept waiting for myself to feel better so that I could, you know, get back into work, because this is how my family and I make a living. And I realized every day got harder, and so it dawned on me that I'm never gonna feel normal again. And I think it's really actually gonna be good for me. Obviously moving at my own pace. I know you guys aren't expecting anything from me, but it's actually good for me to get back into things in my own way, since so much of this is part of my sense of self, my identity, and it will hopefully bring me a little bit of normalcy back into my life. Well, nothing will ever be the same. So just a heads up that things are coming from Revi, and I'm so excited to show them to you guys. And also, it might actually be my next video that I post. I have the opportunity to work with a brand that I love, so I have a partnership video coming up, which I'm just giving you guys a little heads up on as well, that I wanted to take because I love this brand, and I feel like it's good for me, especially after not filming anything for a long time, for the longest time since I started my channel. So stay tuned for all of that. And again, I'm very aware of my capacity right now, and I'm never going to, you know, film or post more than I feel like I can handle at the moment. So while it most likely won't be back to my regular YouTube schedule yet, I'm going to inch my way in, and I just appreciate you guys and your understanding while I get a little bit of a groove back when it comes to work. I say work because I love this so much, but you know, it is my job at the end of the day. And I wanted to actually end this video reading the last thing that my sister posted on her Instagram stories. Now, this is something that she posted 4 days before she passed. And maybe I'll pop it up here too while I read so you guys can see her cute face. She said, "Hi friends, I had great ambitions and plans for January, but I've had to allow everything to take a back seat to my healing. The past 2 weeks have revealed to me the fragility of my own life, yet I have felt very little fear. There has been an undercurrent of peace and hope that has carried me through 2 terrifying ER visits, a diagnosis of blood clots in my lungs, an emergency procedure, and a week spent in the hospital. I've had angels, both seen and unseen, take my hand and tell me to hold on, to keep fighting, to keep breathing. I have felt a healing light fill me, and the power of prayer said on my behalf, buoying me up and lifting my spirits. Angels are real. God hears our prayers. I know that my Savior, Jesus Christ, suffered the pain of this specific experience so that he could comfort me in the moments of my greatest need, and he has. I have a long road of healing ahead of me, but I'm optimistic and determined to get well. I know there is purpose in my suffering, and that this experience will ultimately work together for my good. So in the meantime, I'll be learning how to use my lungs again, counting my blessings and celebrating the little victories, reading slowly, writing when I have the energy to do so, but mostly allowing my body the space and time it needs to recover." I wanted to read that to you guys because her words have been advice to me to just slow down a little and have faith. The fact that she said, you know, I know that this experience will ultimately work for my good. As I was reading that, I feel like that was kind of her nudging me to be like, eventually it'll all be okay. I personally don't feel like it's gonna be okay until I see her again when it's my turn. But, you know, I know she would want me to pursue my dreams and live my life to its fullest, just like she did, especially since her opportunity to do so was cut so short. Thank you guys for sitting through this and listening to me and being there for me. I am so thankful for you. I'm so thankful for my sister. And I'm so thankful for Jesus because he's the only thing I'm holding on to right now. Although it does not make sense to me. I know that one day, hopefully it will, and one day I'll see her again. I can't wait. I can't freaking wait. I'm so thankful for my family and for her darling husband and her sweet 2 boys. Oh my gosh. You know, I promised her, I didn't have a chance to before she passed, obviously, but I've promised her since that I would do everything possible, and I would hopefully learn to have a pretty open communication with her, so that I can help say and do what she needs me to when it comes to her boys, as they have a long road ahead without her. I'm so thankful for my husband, Tylen, who has been my rock. Oh my gosh. I feel like that's what breaks my heart about Caden, Haley's husband, is you know, I have the privilege of, even through all of this, and although I'm changed completely as a person, I have the privilege of going home and having my husband there, where Caden turns every corner and Haley's not there. It's unfathomable. I'm so thankful for my sweet baby girl. I don't think I'd be getting out of bed at all if it weren't for her, and she brings such a joy into this really dark time for me. She's so sweet. Again, I will have my darling sister Haley's gorgeous music, her sweet books, the GoFundMe, her blog. I'm going to put it all in the description box. This is for her. So please like take some time to listen to her songs, and especially to a beautiful song that she wrote after my grandpa passed away, which is called Take Me With You. It holds so much more meaning now that she's gone. But you really can't go wrong with any of her songs. She has the most beautiful voice and she's so talented at the guitar, all the things. So have at it. It would mean more than you know for you guys to just get to know her a little bit in that way. I love you guys so much. This is a much longer video than I planned on filming, but now looking back, I'm like, of course I wouldn't be able to explain this life-altering scenario in 10 minutes. So thank you to everybody who listened. Again, I'll be seeing you guys soon, and we'll slowly be posting again, as it is a form of therapy for me, and I'm in need of a form of therapy, a little creative outlet for myself. I think it will ultimately help me, and I look forward to just continuing to grow with you guys, and I connect with you in this new way and on this new level, since I didn't know before, and I feel for anyone who's been through anything like this. It is the worst, and I love you guys. I love all of you so much. I'll see you guys soon. Thank you again for your love and for your prayers. And like Haley said, going into her last surgery, it's gonna be okay. I don't know how, but I'm just gonna take her word for it. I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon.